gonna do some Taishanese. I haven't done Taishanese in a while. Let's do some Taishanese actually. How do I? Actually, I will play you some Taishanese actually. I will play you some Taishanese so people out there can hear what my variant of Chinese sounds like. And we'll compare it to Cantonese and Shanghainese and some Mandarin. But first, let me just close my display off. So that worked, yeah, that worked. And let me just try to pull up some documents so you can listen and read the characters and languages. And my Taishanese notes here. So, now the Taishanese material I have is from the Defense Language Institute in the US, and they apparently had this course. It's kind of a, they call it the Taishanese, they called it a dialect of Cantonese. It was basically a Chinese-Cantonese course that the U.S. Defense Language Institute was giving to their, to the military because, if people don't know, in the 60s, the Chinese immigrants at that time period all basically came from Guangdong province, but a lot of them were from Taishan, what's modernly called Taishan. That's the Mandarin pronunciation of the place. And so just say Taishan in Guangdong province. So the majority of immigrants in that time period in the 60s that were in Canada and the US, they were from Taishan in Guangdong province, and they spoke Taishanese rather than straight up Cantonese from Guangzhou or Hong Kong. So so they had this course, and they made the materials available online for a brief time, and I basically nabbed them, grabbed them, quickly got all the audio and the document. Now the document that they used was originally handwritten, and the text was all handwritten, the characters were handwritten, and believe me, when I started learning from that material, I was pulling my hair out and hitting my head on a brick wall trying to figure out how to type these characters, because the writing system for Chinese is designed to be used with Mandarin, and it's designed to be able to, those characters are designed to be able to be used with every kind of spoken language in China, but they're not written for that spoken language, they're written for the spoken language of Mandarin. But so some characters that don't actually, some languages that don't have a character in a character in the character set. To create the character for a spoken Chinese variant, you have to create the character by just putting the mouth radical in front of the character. So this text was handwritten, and there's a lot of characters that were just kind of created by putting the mouth character in front of the standard character. And the mouth radical basically says, oh, sounds like this character, right? So there are some definite examples in the Taishanese text for that. It's something like, well, commonly there was the word for meaning this or these, is koi in Taishanese, but there's no character for that in the standard Chinese character set, so they used the mouth radical and put it in front of a character that sounded like koi. So because it was handwritten, I went ahead and I started transcribing that and trying to figure out how to type all that. And trust me, this was a chore, because I decided because I'm learning different Chinese languages, and just using straight up pinyin to try to type characters is going to be frustrating because I didn't know a lot of Mandarin. I don't plan on learning a lot of Mandarin necessarily, I don't know, depends. But I didn't know a lot of Mandarin. It was easier to learn characters from my own from my own variant of Chinese rather than, let me just open these documents first, than using Mandarin pronunciation for trying to type things. So I taught myself kanji typing, which is typing Chinese characters using typing Chinese characters based on how they look. So it's the shape of the characters that you're using, and it was a chore at first, and then I found a online Chinese dictionary that also included the codes for how to type in kanji. Made things so much easier. So back to sharing my display again. Let me just close this off like that. Back to my display. So this is the vocabulary. Do I have I don't have the pronunciation. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm gonna close my display off again. I should have pulled up one more thing. My notes and pronunciation. Chinese notes. Vernacular. There we go. Okay. Let's play back on again. So let's do a little bit of Taishanese. I haven't actually listened to a lot of Taishanese in the past 2 years, actually. It's kind of sad. These are my notes. Yeah, notes, some characters, blah, blah, blah. Like these were constructed characters, like I was saying, Koi. This sounds like this character. This one, Nai, sounds like this one. Actually, that you can type it sometimes, but it doesn't always show up. And then there's some appendices, but this, mostly this is, the DLI material uses this romanization scheme, which I've pretty much maintained throughout my notes, but I use this one in this note. This sound is the same sound you hear in Welsh. The double L in Welsh is pronounced ll. So llw, pull. Except in Welsh, they have it at the end of a syllable, which I'm not used to, so it took me a while to say things like pull. But I romanized it as that because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds something like that to me. And the finals, the way they romanize the finals in the DLI, and then this other, this was another, Gene Chin was another guy who put up some Taishanese stuff. He actually has a good dictionary for Taishanese, and this is the romanization of finals. I, ow, an, up. That's what's used in DLI, and I pretty much kept all that the same. And in case you're wondering, these P, T, and K stops, we don't aspirate the P or T or the K here. It's a stop. So it's up. It's not up or at or ak. It's up, at, ak. And yes, it sounds like I'm saying but if you listen carefully, you hear that the P is trying. It's called a stop because it's not actually leaving my mouth. It's like the P, T, and K are trying to escape my mouth, but I keep my mouth closed so it doesn't actually come out. So, but you can kind of hear that it's the beginning sound of the P, T, and K are coming out. So it's up. So ow, Al, Young, Ak. Anyways, I need to listen to it. I need to listen to it again. It's been a while. And so the initials in Taishanese, I put up there's a comparison of Taishanese with Cantonese, right? This is a comparison of romanization schemes. And so comparing Taishanese with Cantonese, because like I said, I speak, my mother tongue is Taishanese, but I grew up with Cantonese speakers and listening to my mom speak Cantonese actually. So comparison Taishanese and Cantonese. So this is the DLI material. This is Cantonese. Did I use? I think I was using the Yale romanization for Cantonese. I don't know why. That's not in my notes, I guess. But yeah, the IPA symbol for this sound, this flu sound, it's that. Alveolar. So I was comparing Cantonese, Taishanese and Cantonese. So you have, it's a comparison of the romanization actually. P, p, t, t, ch, j, k, g, kwa, gwa. P, see now it's aspirated. P, t, t, ch, 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 ch. K, k, kwa, Not in Cantonese. And trust me, you know, Mandarin speakers, they hear that sound, and Cantonese speakers hear that sound, and they're like, what did you say? Alveolar, yeah, alveolar S. H is just your normal H, h, h. L is your normal L, and the Y and the W pretty much like English. This is like English, 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 like English, like English. English speakers, like English, like English. English speakers need to learn to use that at the beginning of a syllable. So like to say I in Taishanese is ngoi, ngoi. And they used to be pretty, well actually sorry, the unaspirated P, the unaspirated column is hard for English speakers. You know, they tend to aspirate a lot. So that's the comparison, and a comparison of finals with Taishanese and Cantonese are very similar actually. Cantonese also has these sounds, y, yun, and yut, and they don't really have that in Taishanese. I know. So notes on tones in Taishanese, similar to Cantonese, and these are the tones in Taishanese. You have high level, ma, mahang, or mid falling, mahang, or mid level, mahang, or low level, mahang, or low falling, mahang. There's a dispute with some other sources. They might say it's 2-1 instead of 1-0, and this one may actually be like 3-2 in some other materials on Taishanese. These are just some notes about tone classes, but for practical purposes, these are the tones you'll hear in Taishanese, and this is the notation I use in my notes. Mostly because I got used to the Yale romanization of Cantonese and the way they did their tones, so it's based off of that. Skip this part, contours. And the finals. And there's some drills, pronunciation drills. Should we do pronunciation drills or just play some dialogue? I'll play the first lesson so you guys can hear. I'll just play, not the first lesson actually, it was lesson 4. There was a bunch of drills for 1, 2, 3.